Next up, we have G6 Materials Corp. Nick Kuzyk, the company's head of IR, standing in place for the CEO. As the company is currently in a quiet period, we won't have any Q&A or one-on-ones available. We're thankful that Nick is able to present for the company. And with that, Nick, please tell us your story.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks to Red Cloud. Appreciate you guys including us in the conference today. G6 Materials. This story actually has some length to it. It's been a company trading the TSXV since for over 5 years now. It's got real revenues and cash flows. It's a graphene-driven story, and as per Joe's introduction, company is in a quiet period right now. It is in the middle of a transaction that it hopes to conclude shortly. But given that, I'm presenting the company from the point that it last produced a slide deck, which was in May, and not a lot has changed. Actually, the share price is right around the exact same level, about 16 or 17 cents at the moment. And so that makes this actually quite easy. So G6 Materials is, let me just get the disclaimer here taken care of for the lawyers in the crowd. Forward-looking statements, anyone can read this at their leisure. And G6 Materials, who we are. So G6 is a company that recently shifted its strategic focus to serving the air filtration and purification market. The global pandemic obviously created a step change in demand for products like this. And so the company was successful, as you'll see later in the presentation, at addressing some of this market opportunity recently with some record financial performance over the last fiscal year. Further on down the bullet list here, you'll see that the company has a successful track record attracting customers like NASA, Stanford University, Harvard, other Fortune 500 companies for some of its products. It currently has an IP portfolio with 5 patents granted and 5 applications filed, which is unique in the space. There are new graphene-based solutions being identified to accelerate growth in the future. And the company does have a premium lab and scalable production facility that it owns as well in New York, which is where the company is based. So some recent highlights over the last 12 months, record financial performance, in October, again in January on a year-over-year basis. In March, this is the transaction that was announced, the LOI to acquire GX Technologies. It's currently underway and hoping to be concluded shortly. Then in April, the company raised $5.4 million through a non-brokered equity financing, which was the most that the company has raised in its recent past, and that is still currently in the bank account. And subsequent to that, another strong, 3Q financial result was reported, and also some more IP that was secured to bring the portfolio up to the point where it is today with the 5 granted patents along with the 5 applications filed. So G6's business model is science-driven. Basically, look at the market, identify customer needs, and then develop some graphene-based solutions to meet those needs. This is the funnel that management uses to commercialize the IP and technology developed within the company. A little bit about graphene, just some basics for the audience. Some people are familiar, but many are not. It's a very famous discovery. It's the basis of the 2010 Nobel Prize for Physics. It's the strongest and thinnest material on Earth. It has incredible antiviral properties and is beneficial for a lot of technological applications, including a suite of green energy solutions and EV applications. The primary market opportunity for G6 at the time of this slide deck, was to address at the moment is to address the air purification situation around the world. People, thanks to COVID, are spending more time indoors, working from home. Air quality indoors is, a majority of the air that a lot of us professionals breathe throughout the day. Provides, an invisible health risk. And there, whether we like it or not, there are pathogens in the air that can lead to, illnesses and other setbacks. So G6 the team said, Daniel and Elena, Ariston and the team, they said, okay, how can we improve indoor air quality and during the pandemic and beyond? This is a permanent situation. People are now more, generationally aware of it because of the pandemic. And so these are the factors that, went into the decision. There is a need for new solutions. This slide basically outlines the urgent need to improve indoor air quality. And this is the reason why there is a blind zone between gas adsorbents and fiber-based filters, including HEPA filters. The blind zone doesn't capture viruses and bioaerosols in a category of that size of about 100 nanometers. So the company said, okay, how do we solve this? How do we create a product that is focused on addressing that blind zone and capturing bioaerosols, which are a severe health risk? So the company developed some proprietary technology that's protected with a provisional patent. The first step would be to capture the elements and then destroy them. And so this is how the technology compares to others in the space, compared to ionizers, UV radiation, gas adsorbents, and HEPA filters. And G6's solution would check all the boxes to capture gases, ultrafine particles, and fine pollen dust, mites, and spores. The design of it, which is under development and testing right now, in a simple form looks like this: airflow coming in from the right, passing through a pre-filter, true HEPA filter, then an activated carbon filter, and then G6's proprietary antimicrobial graphene filter would be the last step to deactivate pathogens before going through a post filter to re-enter the air in a room in someone's house, in an office, in a school, in a institutional setting, any kind of indoor application like that. This is stating the obvious. The air purification experienced a surge in demand thanks to COVID, or just maybe not thanks to COVID, but you know what I mean. That this represents a step change in the social consciousness around indoor air purification and health in general. So people are looking at investing some of their disposable income in products like this to make sure that their homes and workplaces are cleaner and safer and healthier than they were prior. So G6's go-to market strategy will be, along these three lines. This three-pronged approach will focus on proprietary hardware and consumable filters, and then consumable filters for third-party hardware, as well as industrial air purification solutions. G6 has been in other businesses as well, since being a public company here for 7 or 8 years. It's in the high performance composites business, R&D materials for use by scientists, which is where some of the customers in the university sphere come from, and NASA as well, and then also in the conductive epoxy sale business. There are multiple e-commerce websites owned by G6 that all result in capturing revenue and operating income for the business. Another thing that G6 is focused on is scaling up graphene production. This is, it occurs at its production and lab facility. It's ready and scalable for graphene production today, and it's been tested by third-party independent labs. This is a snapshot of the company's IP portfolio, like I said, as it stands today, with a 5+5 structure of 5 granted patents and 5 applications filed, covering a range of applications in graphene-like materials and others as well. And this is kind of what the future looks like for G6. The primary goal is to continue to develop and launch the line of graphene-based air purification products, but also the ongoing objectives are to leverage the IP portfolio, find new customers for new products, and expand graphene production, which is the subject of the contemplated transaction with GX Technologies. Company's management, which has been in place, the team has not changed. Daniel Stolyarov is the CEO. Elena Polyakova, who's not on the slide, she runs Graphene Laboratories Inc., which is a wholly owned subsidiary of G6, and Rob Scott is the CFO. The board is represented by some independent directors as well, and corporate secretary being Jeff Dare. Here's some key financial metrics. This is unique in the space. The graphene space is not known as having a lot of constituents with healthy top line revenue, positive gross profit, and net income, as we can see in a first quarter of 2021, was positive, and that was a very strong record quarter. Total assets also continue to increase as the company adds to its IP portfolio, has raised capital subsequent to this, with that 5.4 million in the bank. And the evolution of the company is quite exciting. And May 12th is similar to today. Share price then 17 cents. Today, I believe, at the time of this presentation, is currently around 16 cents. Cap table has not changed since then. Still fully diluted, 170.6 million shares out, with the 138 and change basic shares outstanding. So there's lots of upside opportunity here as the company executes on its growth plans. And the company has recently traded up into the high 30 cent range, and so there is precedent for trading in that territory and that level. And as the company continues to add value and make accretive decisions on the corporate development side, we hope that the stock will head back into that territory. Some recent media coverage or coverage of the company over time, has been included in significant publications like Forbes and Wired and Entrepreneur, BBC and Vice, for example. And in summary, G6 is an opportunity to participate in the graphene like product industry. The graphene like products, graphene based applications are, they present an opportunity to participate in the future of significant green technologies and EVs. G6 has the capacity scientifically and from a research perspective to look at applications in those areas. I know I spent a portion of the time of this presentation talking about air filtration, and obviously that has clear implications for a greener economy and healthier society. But the Daniel and Elena and the team, being science first type executives, are quite capable and focused on commercializing many applications via graphene for the green economy. So this is the summary of G6. The patent portfolio presents a lot of opportunities through partnerships and royalties and other ways to commercialize and monetize their research. And as I've mentioned before, this company has regular recurring cash flow flowing through the income statement from the top line on down. And that is the summary of G6 based on entering the quiet period back in May. So I apologize for not taking any Q&A today or one-on-one meetings. Daniel sends his regards and wishes he could present. But again, the team is focused on concluding the transaction with GX Technologies. And hopefully we'll see everyone in October at the next Red Cloud event.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for presenting here today. We do appreciate that you are in a quiet period. So as you mentioned, we won't be taking any Q&A. We do have another 6 minutes, so I leave the option to you if there's anything that you'd like to drill down on that you may have missed in the presentation. If not, happy to leave it here and move on.
Sure, thanks, Joe. What I'll say to the audience is please feel free to visit G6's website, sign up for the mailing list. That is the best way to make sure that you're receiving news as it happens, as issued by the company via news release or website updates. that's the best way to stay in touch and keep up with the story. The company is at a very interesting point in time, and the air filtration products, the IP portfolio, like I said, the transaction that has it in a quiet period right now, all of those things, any of those things represent, quite a nice opportunity for, upside here to the company. And it's proven. This is a company that has been, through the ups and downs of, strong markets and down markets, and has continued to develop IP, conduct research, commercialize ideas, develop e-commerce platforms to generate cash flow. And, that's a testament to management's fortuitiveness and, drive. So, it's a nice little team. They work very, very hard, and they don't stop. And, this is, it's a nice story to be a part of.
Absolutely. That's perfect, Nick. Again, thanks for your time. Why don't we leave it there?